WCLN 1170 Radio and Starvision Cable Channel 16 are pleased to present We Should Know, hosted by J.W. Simmons, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative as we consider closely what we should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The name of the show is We Should Know. I want to thank Nicole for that introduction she does for us. We're coming to you on WCLN Radio, Starvision Channel 16, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m., 2:30 to 3:30 on Tuesday, both on Starvision Channel 16 and WCLN Radio. There's a reprint summation in the Sampson Weekly newspaper. We appreciate all those folks that continue to give us responses on our previous programs, suggestions on upcoming programs, and I'll just say that the month of June is looking lively. We got just a lot of wonderful programs coming up, and as you know, I'll kind of give you a hint here. Some of those programs are going to deal with government issues and things that are happening in the legislature, and more importantly, the results of what the legislative actions are going to be on your life. Today we have with us none other than Cara Donatelli. Cara, thank you for being here. And Ray Jordan. Cara is the Executive Director of the Arts Council in Sampson County. And Ray Jordan, everybody knows you. I think your hat, you've got more hats than anybody I know. The Civic Center, the Arts Council, and just numerous jobs and tasks. Busy man. We want to talk about arts today. We want to talk about kind of focus on that piece of it, Ray. Cara, I noticed that you're a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill, and you've got a degree. Literally, your background has been built around the arts. So you're kind of a arts-specific person when it comes to the arts. What attracted you to taking on this job responsibility of being Executive Director of the Arts Council here in Sampson County?
Well, I'm from Clinton, so I grew up here, and I'm just a lover of the arts and just thrilled to be back in the community where I grew up and promoting the arts here and majoring in art. I was an art teacher here in Sampson County at Midway Elementary back in the 90s. And just enjoyed that and teaching. And so with the Arts Council, I'm able to promote the arts, help with the gallery, and help with setting up classes, art classes, and programming that we offer all year long.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I know a lot of people has interacted with you over the years, and you've, from what I can hear, done a great job. Ray, you're the president of the Arts Council, and probably you know more about whether she's done a great job or not, so I won't get into all that, but let me kind of leverage to you, and let's talk about the arts has been involved here in Sampson County. It was chartered, the Arts Council in 1973? I mean, my gracious, that's getting almost old as I am. So that's quite a few years. How did you get involved in and this whole push for the arts in Sampson County? There's got to be a button there that kind of triggered you to step up and get involved in this.
Well, JW, as you said, the Arts Council was founded in 1973, and it ran for a long time as a nonprofit. It is a nonprofit, but it ran a long time on strictly volunteers. Mm-hmm. Cara came on board, or actually Lisa Turlington was the first paid director about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So the Arts Council has made great strides in where it's come from, being from all volunteer to staff, because as you know, it takes staff, volunteers are great, you got to have them, mm-hmm. but you got to have somebody to drive that ship and lead it as it goes. But my involvement came through because I cannot paint, mm-hmm. I cannot draw.
And I hadn't heard you sing, so
I will not even bore you with that, but I can't do any of those things, but I appreciate all that can, and the creativity of it all, and the economic impact that it provides. And my aspect of it is more on the managerial side of it, mm-hmm. is to help keep those things going and bring the folks together that can help mesh it together between the Arts Council and the CVB, the city and the county and those things.
Well, Cara, when I think about arts and the Arts Council, obviously membership is important to you guys, but from your position as kind of executive director, what are some of the challenges you see as you look forward in that crystal ball that you're facing with the Arts Council to kind of continue to move arts forward in Sampson County? What are some of the things you see maybe as obstacles or even opportunities?
Right. One obstacle probably is that our funding from the grassroots program with the North Carolina Arts Council, for the last several years, it's been cut about 15% each year. So, and that comes with, budget cuts and with the government and all in North Carolina. So we've seen that happen every year now. which is unfortunate. We're doing our best to, give out those funds as we can and use what we have, and we appreciate that, from the North Carolina Arts Council. But that's one of our biggest, I think, issues is the cutting and the funding for the arts. So,
Ray, when I think about what Kara's talking about as far as cutting funding, I do recall within the community college system having some experience there. There used to be a situation we had a visiting artist to come in every year. I mean, some very unusual artists. I recall classical guitar. I recall wood carvers. I recall quilt making. Just all kinds of folks. That funding was also cut. What do you see as the impact of some of these funding cuts for local arts councils like the one that you're heading up here?
Well, it's kind of like you got to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is that there is a tremendous amount of support for the arts from private donations. One of the opportunities that the state has and the Arts Council and our legislature is to continue to make that leverage to make those dollars count, because every dollar that's spent in North Carolina from North Carolina's Arts Council through grant programs results in about $17 turnover in matching funds. So, I mean, that's a heck of a return on your investment there. It creates jobs. The arts create jobs, and I think sometimes folks overlook that. It's kind of like we were talking the other day about travel and tourism, and I'll relate it back to this, but in travel and tourism in Sampson County, people think of, when you say travel and tourism, they think about Disney World or going to the beach or the mountains. They don't necessarily think about it impacts me in my community. But as we were talking earlier, just look right here in the production studio today. You've got two folks that their background has to come from arts and the creative industry, so to speak. And so we hope that as we continue to grow, that not only we've got a tremendous support from our businesses in the industry, and we just hope that there's lots of funding issues with states and local governments all around, but we hope that those folks will not continually whittle away at the arts, and because there's so many needs out there. So everybody's continuing to work. Arts North Carolina is a great organization, advocacy group that's working hard every day for the arts across our state. And JW, as you know, there are right at 300,000 jobs, direct jobs in North Carolina as a result of the arts in North Carolina, and that's a tremendous number of jobs. It's a little over almost 5% of the state's employment that are involved directly in arts or arts-related fields.
Kara, when I think about the arts and looking at some of the things economically, the impact, what has it meant for you as the executive director to have a place, i.e. on College Street, the Victor R. Small Center down there, and it has such huge history historically, as Ray was just talking about. But then when I look at the house, I think about when the college was there, and actually going down there, and I had a little office down there. So I've got a little feel for that house. How and why is that important for you to have that physical structure to represent the arts?
We're very fortunate that Dr. Small donated that house. He deeded it to the county, and then it was deeded to the Arts Council in 2006. And just to have a meeting place where people can come and enjoy arts activities, arts programming, art classes. We have a gallery there at the small house, and that's just something that. And we're so fortunate to have a space where we can promote local artists from counties, nearby. Like Fayetteville, we have an artist coming from Fayetteville coming up in June. So it's just a really great opportunity for us to have a place like the small house. It's a beautiful, like you said, a beautiful historic home. People love coming there, learning about the history of the house and seeing the artwork that we have on display and enjoying the programming that we put on.
Now, Ray, you were president when this small house was donated to the Arts Council. Was that before you were?
I worked in that process to some degree. I was on the board at the time, but not serving as president.
When that came on board, and I know you look over a number of facilities here in the county to include the Civic Center, but there's something kind of unique about that particular location itself, and that folks recognize it. No matter where you are in the county, they recognize the name Victor R. Small. Everybody, to some degree, that's got any presence here or age can probably tell you you a story about some experience there. Right. From your perspective, has that been a plus for you in garnering funds and so forth for the arts?
It has. The small house provides a home for the Arts Council, but it gives it a physical identity. That's probably the best benefit from it, and the house itself is beautiful, as you know, and the restoration of the house was taken on by a group of folks from here in the community with private donations. There's no county dollars, no tax dollars in that renovation project. We got some very special benefactors that see the value in it, that grew up in participating in arts events at the house, and when Dr. Small left the estate, it was left to foster cultural enrichment.
So Carol, with that said, if somebody is interested in having a meeting there, does it need to relate to the arts for them to use that, or can they call you and say, I want to do something there, and maybe somebody wants to get married there or something, and I don't know, you might have had that happen, but is that something that could be done at that location?
Yes, the small house is available to rent, there are fees with renting, but and that all goes back into the funds that we raise during the year. So it all goes right back into the pot there. So, but we enjoy renting it out. We've had a wedding reception there just last week, and people love coming because it's a beautiful facility, and it's there for people in the community to use.
Now, just for folks that may be listening in some other county, and we do have listeners in several counties here, sure. What is the physical address? It's on College Street. 709 College Street. So they can ride by, take a look at it. Sure. And if they're interested, they need to call you and say, look, I've got an interesting thing I want to do, and you can kind of dust through that and see what the details is on it.
And they can find out information about the small house on our website, JW, which is www.sampsonarts.net.
Okay, we're going to take our first break, and we'll be back in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. We're talking about the arts in Sampson County. We'll be back in a moment with We Should Know. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on the air, 2:30 to 3:30, Tuesday, 7 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Star Vision TV. We want to welcome you back. I want to give a shout out to all those folks out there that actually recognize us on the radio. Boogie Shoes Network with Robert Stroud on Saturday afternoon. You can tune him in. Wayne Weeks with the gospel program on WCLN 1170 AM during the lunch hour. Just tune him in. And of course, Don Smith does something I think probably has got more listeners than anyone I know, especially right here in Sampson County, called The Country Store. If you hadn't heard that, Don Smith has been doing it for a few years. I think Don told me probably been on the radio for over 50 years. Don, we congratulate you on that. Also, that gang on in the morning, we want to remember them. The L Man and Nolan Z and Grandpa Pat. We want to recognize you guys, and of course Tommy the Fly that often mentions us. So thank you guys for doing that, and we appreciate all of the things you say about our program here. We're talking about the arts today. We're talking with Ray Jordan, and we're talking with Cara Donatelli. Cara, Executive Director, Ray Jordan, pretty much wherever your hat may be hanging during the day. Everybody kind of knows Ray. Ray, I don't know, sometimes you ever thought about running for politics? Everybody knows where everybody sees you around everywhere. I mean, you could kind of just fill that in. You could
like me right now.
Yeah, you could kind of fill that in. Yeah. I want to talk about the arts from another perspective, and I always am fascinated. And there's a project downtown, and I know, Ray, you were in the middle of this, and Carol, you were involved in it as well. It's another one of those partnership things, and they call it Milling Around. And huge art form right in downtown Clinton. And I just thought it was fascinating how that has not only become the centerpiece, but the history behind that, how it represents Sampson County. So either one of you, just kind of talk about that piece of art and how it came about, and the artist that brought it to Clinton, North Carolina.
Well, JW, the Milling Around art project began, actually it was almost, let's see, it's been in place for 1 year. May 17th is when it was dedicated last year, so it's been up and erected for a year. But the Sampson Arts Council, in partnership with the city, received a funding a grant to study the impact or the idea of having public art in our community. And that was a year-long process. Lisa Turlington worked with it, and there was a committee formed that worked tirelessly to come up with a project or a vision for public art. And over the course of 2.5 years, an artist was selected, Heidi Littman, which Kara can talk more about, and then the theme behind it was milling around based on the grist mill, and that's where it came from. The project was nearly $150,000, and there again, it was all private donations.
Now, and the grist mill idea, that is a mill that ground grain and so forth, that developed flour and cooking stuff and that kind of thing, which was well known in the area back during the
And there was
development.
actually one, I can't remember the history of this. I wish you'd have told me we were going to talk about it. I would have told you for sure. But there was actually a mill that was very near to where the art piece is located.
Right.
And it was, that's where the artist came down and spent quite a bit of time in our community. And as she was here, she stumbled across a grist mill laying on the bank of the cattail.
That's why I wanted to get you to mention that, because I found that very intriguing. You know, Kara, talk about Heidi Littman and how that came about, that piece of artwork, how it kind of fell in place and all this came together from the point of a vision and it happening to kind of the reality of what we've got now.
Right. Well, Heidi was chosen from a group of artists by the Public Art Committee to be the artist who would create the public art piece. Heidi lives in Maryland, and she is a glass maker. Heidi came up with the image, like you say. She knew about our agricultural heritage here in Sampson County and the mills that we had, and she became inspired by the millstone. So the wall has the 4 millstones, and if you look at it closely, they look like they're spinning. So the milling around sort of theme, you know, is to come downtown, mill around in downtown Clinton, in our community, and just a beautiful, beautiful piece of public art. The colors, it changes during the day, depending on the daylight. It's lit up at night. But Heidi originally came up with that design, and it was computer generated, and the glass was actually fabricated in Germany. So, and it's 7 panels of glass, and when they brought it in, they shipped it and then brought it to Clinton on a truck, and then they lifted each piece off and put it together like a puzzle, and we're just excited to have that as the first public art piece here in Sampson County. It's a big time public art piece for our community.
Well, it's quickly becoming a focal point, I think, and you know, as folks go downtown, we've had a number of events down there recently. We had the drive-in down there, and there was a lot of people that would come by and look at the cars, and they would walk on down in that direction because we had a lot of the new cars in that parking lot right behind there. They would come back by and go, wow, what is the deal with that? You know, and what was amazing to me is much publicity has been done on that. You still have people that'll come in and maybe they'd heard about it, but they visually hadn't connected with it, and when they did, it created this conversation. Do you get that, Ray, on that?
Yeah, we do. It's hard to describe art to start with. You got to have a visual, but we have created a rack card that we have placed around in our community for visitors coming in, and it tells the history of it on the back of the card. We've advertised in our state magazine to get that artwork out. And one thing I'd like to point out, when JD was talking about economic impact, the Sampson Arts Council was fortunate to receive a $75,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for that project. Now, you got to keep in mind that whenever we receive that grant for a community our size, competing against everyone in the United States, so it's quite a feat.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. How did that affect what you do, Carol, when you've got that kind of dynamic going on? How does that affect you and your membership and just the conversation about art? Is that a huge plus for you?
Yeah, with getting the grant from the NEA, yes, definitely. You know, that puts us on the map really as being, you know, wow, look at that. They've received, you know, funding from a national, you know, endowment for the arts, which, you know, it's just really, like I said earlier, it's just an amazing piece of art, and we're just fortunate to have it in our community and have people, you know, be supportive of it. And
if you tell folks where that's at, it's kind of across the corner from Butler's Drugstore, across the corner from the real estate office there, Frank Butler's Real Estate Place, and it's literally kind of in the center of a downtown area. So. Do you get calls periodically, people asking you where that may be? Or?
I do, and we have people as they come by the small house. I always point it out. Make sure you go downtown. If they're not from the area, or they haven't seen the public art piece, I always make mention to head downtown to see our public art piece, because it is something to see, and people really appreciate it. I even had a group come from the Sampson Early College High School this year, just this spring, wanting to come see the artwork and talk about the public art piece, because they were talking about that in their art class. And so I had a group of high school students come, and we went down to the wall, and I gave them discussion on how it was created, and then they were able to look at it, and then they went back, and the teacher was talking about how they were going to go back and write about it, and and it became a appreciation of what it was and what it meant, and the heritage of our community.
Heidi Littman, now she's got other artwork in different places. Where in the United States also is she showing her artwork?
Right, mostly in Maryland are her other public art pieces, and Virginia.
Do they also involve glass and glasswork?
She has a tremendous piece in the Baltimore airport.
Right.
I mean, she's got some very huge public art pieces that are in major thoroughfares, in major venues. So she's quite renowned in her work. And as Kara said, the art was fabricated in Germany, put on a ship, shipped over here. It was all hand painted. It's hand fired and glazed, and it's quite a piece.
I think the fascinating thing for me when I look at that, and I think you're exactly right, depending on the time of day, the time of year, it takes on a different personality when you look at it. And I think you would agree that we would encourage folks to just go down and, as you said, mill around. But if you've been, go a different time of year, go a different time of day, and you start seeing different colors, and it's just kind of unusual. You've got a little bench out there. Maybe you need to put some more benches, but you've got a little bench out there, and it's kind of a good place just kind of sit and think occasionally, especially on the weekends when things is kind of quiet, folks. And I see a lot of people downtown, Ray, on Saturdays.
We can go downtown, shop, hit the stores up and businesses downtown, grab a bite lunch, take a sack lunch over, and sit in front of the artwork.
And just talk, or if you like you're doing at the Small Arts building there with Victor R. Small, folks can use it as an epicenter to take pictures or what have you if they want to. You've got a number of other things. I want to talk about those quickly, and then we've got just a lot of stuff we want to talk about today. But one of the things I thought was intriguing, you do this around the holidays, and that's the gingerbread house. And the reason it intrigued me is because I'd been up to Asheville a couple of times to the Grove Park, and they do a big gingerbread thing up there. And you've probably been up there and seen that, right? And when you started this thing, I was wondering where you got the idea to do the gingerbread thing at the holiday time. It's just perfect, but you have huge participation in that event.
Sure. It's been a lot of fun with that, and partnering with the city for the Christmas in the City activity. And last year we did have the first gingerbread house contest, and so we're hoping this year more people will participate in that. And for the kids, we had last year we did the gingerbread cookie decorating, so they each got a cookie and could decorate that. And it's a lot of fun.
I was blown away at the number of people that participated, and then you actually took some of those winners and placed them in different businesses around town.
Right.
What kind of comments do you get? I mean, does people call you and say, "Wow, that's really unusual"?
we had a lot of great comments on displaying those around town, and it really I think the businesses enjoyed it because they had a lot of people coming in and just really have an appreciation of the hard work that went into each of those gingerbread houses, but it was a lot of fun.
Ray, do you see that as a way that with the Arts Council is stimulating new artists?
Yeah, it's having that art around and creating this, having collaborations with businesses and other organizations within our community. That's the key to moving the arts forward in our community.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We're talking about the arts in Sampson County. We're talking with Ray Jordan and Kara Donatelli. We'll be back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on the air. The email address for We Should Know is weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. we should know edu@gmail.com. A number of you use that to communicate with us, let us know what you think. Give us ideas for upcoming programs and ask us about, can we get somebody on, or a person, or some particular topic. It's an education information program, and we certainly want to try to live up to that theme. We have today with us Cara Donatelli, Executive Director of the Arts here in Sampson County, of everything art-wise, and Ray Jordan, the man of many colors and dreams and visions. So as we talk about the arts, we just talked about the Gingerbread House, we talked about the art piece downtown. There's a number of other things I know you've got going on, programs that you have engaged kind of constantly to intrigue people. Tell us some more of those programs, Cara.
Right. Well, about every 6 to 8 weeks we have different artists in our gallery, and so our next upcoming artist reception and artist in our gallery will be Edwina Clark, and she's from Fayetteville, and that artist reception will be on June 6th, and we invite everybody to come and view the artwork. It's free, and we have food, and we have a great time, and so
and JW, that's from 5:30 to 7:30.
5:30 to 7:30, and that's June the 6th.
June 6th.
Okay.
And this year I can tell you that we've had 35 adult artists that have exhibited in our gallery, and we've had 162 student artists, because we've had 3 different student art shows this year. We've hosted 8 artist receptions, and we've had over 650 people in attendance to those receptions. And total attendance for all of our activities this year has been about 12,000. So we've had a huge crowd for all the things we've been doing, and that includes, the students coming to the Class Acts grant programs that are offered, and for also Alive After 5 and all the events that we have at the Arts Council at the Small House.
Ray, I want to leverage quick, and she mentioned it. I'm going to leverage you right quick. What do you think about that first crowd for the Live After 5? I see a smile. I saw people coming in. I looked over and saw Ray running around like she did, and this big smile on his face. I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's over 1,500 people here. How did you estimate the crowd about? It's hard to really say for sure.
It really is. We have a couple folks who try to kind of help us get some numbers on it, and we really anticipate we had somewhere between 1,800 and 2,000 folks. We know that under our sponsor reception area we had over 300 of just sponsors that were there, and there were 111 folks that have sponsored Live After 5 this year, contributing over $110,000 to make that one piece of art that we're doing in this year, just 5 concerts. Those folks have supported that way, but the crowd was great. The next show is June 20th, Spare Change, and that'll be probably the headliner of the year, because we've had so many people ask for that group to come in. It's going to be a great time.
5 shows this year, so we've got 4 more left, and it's the third Thursday.
Third Thursday of each month, May through September.
Now, and kind of tie that in for us, guys, when we talk about arts. This is a function of the Arts Council in the sense of the connectivity there. Connect that to the arts for us right quick, either one of you or both of you.
Well, the Live After 5 series was how it started and came about was a business person came to Cara, and subsequently Cara and I and the city manager, John Connett, had a meeting with this person and had a discussion about trying to create some type of concerts downtown. And from that, the whole thing flourished and became known as a Live After 5 in the sense we know it today, where we're presenting regional and national touring artists. And it's just come a long way. We're in our 3rd season, but it is a committee of the Arts Council. We handle the funding for it. The money comes through the Arts Council. We have our own account for that system, but it could not happen without the partnerships between the city of Clinton. They contribute the space, so much manpower, and a great committee of 10 people that do a great deal of work, which you're a part of that committee.
And Cara, when you think about that, and I know you stood at that first event and looked out, what does that say to you about the sense of art in Sampson County? And I guess where I'm going with this, I think a lot of people may not see that as part of the arts, but explain that to us. Did that really kind of refresh you in a way and say, hey, people really get this?
Right. Well, people just love live music, I think, and in this community it has really been, everybody's just really supported the Live After 5, and just to see everybody having a good time and you know, enjoying the music and talking with friends, and, you know, just gives us a time to come together and have fun. And so I think everybody's really enjoyed it.
And now this is just to kind of clear the air a little bit for folks. These kinds of things are going on throughout North Carolina, are they not?
Yeah.
So I mean, because I see signs in different places as I'm traveling, and somebody will have an event, but the way this is structured and the way it flows seems to work very well.
It does. I mean, we have a great turnout. Most of the surrounding communities around us have a Live After 5 concert series, and JB, when you think about the Live After 5, you know, a lot of people think of it as strictly entertainment. Mm-hmm. But you think about, you're part of it. There were 6 or 7 musicians on stage the other night. There was 2 sound crew. Mm-hmm. You've got all the technical crew, all these things behind the scenes that are what art is, mm-hmm. and what arts are about, right. Creativity and that. And you don't have to be able to paint just to come out and enjoy. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're trying to strive for is to really have folks have an understanding of what art is, what creates art, and the impact that it has, and that we need the support to continue these things. Because this is a busy world. There's so many options for folks to do and places they can go and spend their money. And one thing, we're glad they can do it right here at home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, there's been a number of things. There's, in fact, a recent article in the Washington Post talked about Lisa Phillips' book, and her book was called The Artist's Edge: 7 Skills Children Need to Succeed in an Increasing Right Brain World. And one of the things that she points out in that book, which I thought was very relevant to our subject today, was that she uses an example Disney and Apple as 2 of the most successful companies in the world, really. Right. And the things they look for in those industries is one word: creativity. Right. So the question then I would leverage to you guys is, how important is creativity to the day-to-day jobs for those folks that may look at it and go, well, what's arts got to do with how much money? I don't have time for arts. We are a society, according to all the reports I've read, that really cherishes the art, but at the same time we have some sense of pullback when we see it as it equates to dollar making. Right. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, JW, I pulled up some information I'll share with you about creativity and work. Mm-hmm. Creative industries. Now, when you think about creativity, you think about an artist, you think about somebody molding clay. All right, think about Seagrove pottery and all the pottery that's created in North Carolina that's sold throughout the nation and throughout the world. People don't think about that as art. They think about it as an industry, but it is art. It is creativity. But in North Carolina, like I said, there's almost 300,000 full-time jobs created by the arts. The creative industry, which includes things like dress designers, it can include a writer, a graphic designer for a website, and on, creates over $12 billion in wages in North Carolina. And then time you put the wages and benefits all together, you know, that's just a tremendous impact in the economy. You know, it generates about $18 billion in tax revenues on an annual basis throughout our state. And, you know, the job creation from the arts and arts-related activities has increased about 8% over the last 3 years. So, but you're right. When you look at folks like Apple and Google and iPhone and those kind of companies, they're looking for creative people. Because I mean, look at an iPhone. I mean, when you think about it, somebody put a picture on Facebook the other day. They had a big old video camera and had a still camera and had a telephone from their house. All these things that one little thing now will do, and all that came from creativity.
Unbelievable. Kara, Ms. Phillips, another quote in her book which I found interesting, she said, "We're doing our children an injustice by not preparing them for the challenges that lie ahead. The point is that we are all creative, and if we nurture that creativity, then we can all find the career success we desire." As a teacher in a classroom with children, what would you say today to school boards and people that's out there in not only Sampson County, but our surrounding county and wherever else this program airs? What would you say to them, not only from that quote, but from you, that they need to look at arts and just listening to Ray. I'm going to leverage that back to you and kind of put you on the spot.
Right. Well, when I was teaching, I would tell the students, art relates to everything. And it really does. I mean, you're going to find arts in science and math and English. And using your creativity is, a great way to expand on understanding. And you're viewing your world in unexpected ways. And that's how artists, I think, view the world. So I think it's just really important that everyone know how important the arts are to the children and when they're in school, and just to have a, it's great to be to know all the math and know all how to read, but to also know how to use your mind in different ways and use your creativity, and it's just really important.
You get the comment oftentimes when I'm talking with people in the community, or you hear the comment made, well, I'm just not an artsy person. I don't really get into that kind of thing. But is that really well, not an excuse, but a reason for a person not to visit some of the programs or projects you've got going on?
No, definitely not. I mean, we welcome everyone to come, and by viewing artwork that we have up in the gallery, you might see something that's going to make you think a different way. It's going to bring something out in you, and the arts really, they focus on our culture and bringing people together. So it's just really important, I think, for people to understand the arts.
Well, as Ray mentioned a while ago, and I'm going to pick up something that he talked about a bit, was about this whole idea of everybody kind of being involved in this. Is that everybody's game and everybody's fair to get involved?
Oh, sure. Anybody and everybody is invited to be a member of the Arts Council and be a part of the arts in our community.
We're going to take another break, and we'll be back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking with Ray Jordan and Kara Donatelli, the arts in Sampson County. Hope you're listening. Call a friend. Welcome back, folks. We Should Know is on the air. We're coming up on our last segment here. We've got a lot to talk about as it relates to the arts in Sampson County. Got two people that know as much about it as anybody I know, certainly the executive director of the arts here in Sampson County, Kara Donatelli, Ray Jordan, who is the chairman, the presidente, as they would say, of the Arts Council. Ray, we've been talking about this, and we've talked about it from a number of different angles. And one of the things you pointed out a while ago, and I want you to touch on this again for us, or both of you, and particularly Ray, from your vantage point, the arts actually brings money into communities, and it's part of the money-making process. I referenced a book here for folks to take a look at, but it's critical to that. Tell us how important that is to Clinton and Sampson County.
Well, JW, is very important. If you look at the Arts Council, just it as one nonprofit organization, our budget on an annual basis is around $150,000. And we have a grassroots grant money where we grant out into the community, which is about $18,000 pot of money. And when that has to be matching money. And by the time that $17,000 turns over, if you take $1 of it, that $1 all of a sudden turns into $17 within your community, and it rolls over. We had a class acts recently where we bring in all the students from the schools throughout the county. On a particular day, to give you an example of financial impact, we hired artists. Artist fee being $2,500 to $3,000. We've got a multitude of caterers hired. We've got working for us. We've got technical crew. We've got staff. We've got the promotion side through the newspapers that go through it. All these things that impact, that involve people in it. But the financial impact is huge. One thing that's of note in North Carolina, nonprofit cultural organizations that work in the arts and the creative industries spent $659 million of money that they raised and or received from memberships and that kind of thing. But their audiences, in addition to that, spent an estimated $582 million. Wow. So you can see there's a pile of money there that has transcended over time. Think about this. If you go to a show tomorrow night, just say if you happen to go to Raleigh, you're going to hire a babysitter. You're going to stop and get some gas on the way. You're going to stop and have dinner. On average, a person that's attending an arts event, on average, will spend an additional $25 beyond the cost of getting into that event on other activities. That's the average of $25. So it has a tremendous turnover in the community as far as the funds and how it goes. And it's like Kara's position. Kara's paid staff. There's involvement in the arts. We have several artists right here in our community that their entire livelihoods come from their creation of art.
Well, and Kara, one of the things I think is important too is when Ray was talking, it just kind of reminded me, we've got the movie industry in North Carolina is a huge impact, and a lot of those shows that we watch on TV, a lot of people maybe not realize it, but some of those are shot right down in the Wilmington area,
yeah.
And that's part, acting is part of the art business itself, and which relates a lot to what Ray's talking about. Do you get involved or have any kind of connectivity of anything of that nature that's going on?
Not with the movies in Wilmington, but I do know of some people who have here in our community who are extras in that sort of thing.
So that's what I was thinking. There's some people that's been involved in that capacity,
sure.
right?
Folks have rented cars for like Carl Landis used to rent his cars and Richard to the movie studios.
Is there a way we can leverage some of that in any way to help impact our county? I know some of the surrounding counties to New Hanover, there's been buildings, there's been other kinds of things. Is there a way, Ray, that we can leverage that? You're Carrie, the one?
Yeah, one of the things that the Economic Development Commission in Sampson County and now the CVB, and we'll all partner with the Arts Council, I'll bring it all together, is that we work with the Film Commission out of Wilmington to try to identify. They're always looking for locations.
Yeah.
And you never know what they want. A couple of years ago, they brought in a movie producer that came in, and we're looking at a cattle slaughtering plant is what they were looking for to do this filming.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have we had a cattle one, but it was not for access. So we took them over to the Lundy Packing Company and took them through.
Yeah.
And they had never been in a processing plant. You can imagine.
Yeah.
But there's been numerous opportunities and times where they've brought Johnny Griffin's name from Wilmington that has come up with a film commission who has been looking at sites and locations.
Just exploring.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, a couple years ago, in addition to that, Chris Pearson, local farmer here, had they filmed a TV commercial for I think it was Old Navy in a squash patch out on his farm.
Way to go, Chris.
And they were there
Give
for
a shout
several
out to
days.
Chris, an old friend of mine. I know him real well.
But JD, we're talking about that in North Carolina, just filming television, radio advertising. That's 30,980 jobs.
Wow.
Just
That's
in that
huge.
One,
That's
that one
huge.
thing, yeah.
Very, very huge. And one of the things that's important, I know to both of you, and particularly Carol with you on the point here, is that it takes money to run the arts business. Ray mentioned a lot of it's donations. Right. There's an event coming up, and let's talk about that for a minute. You got an event coming up that folks can get involved in, and let's face it, everybody around here loves to do this, and it's called golf. So let's talk about that. When is that coming up? How does people get involved, and what do you hope to accomplish monetary gain for the arts in Sampson County?
JW, I guess it was 3 years ago, Debbie Roberts and Helen Kearns developed an idea to have a celebrity golf tournament. And Kara's going to talk more about it, but I want to give you a little history of it. Those two ladies brought in celebrities, and at that point they were football celebrities, Jeff Bostic, numerous national celebrities and regional celebrities that came in and did a day of golf. That is the largest fundraising event for the Arts Council, and Miss Helen and Debbie, and they have put together a wonderful committee that has worked for months to pull off this great golf tournament, and I'm going to have Kara to tell you more about it.
All right, Kara, lay it out for us.
So the golf tournament is going to be on June 14th at Coharie Country Club.
Okay.
It'll be a shotgun start at 9 o'clock, and every golfer receives a prize. Okay. So even if you're the lowest man on the pole, you receive a prize. So it is a great time. We enjoy the celebrities being there, and I'm going to list out a couple of those. On the 13th, the night before the golf tournament, we actually have a meet and greet with the celebrities at the Victor R. Small House, and that'll be from 6:30 to 9. And that's for every golfer who's involved, and if you're a $150 sponsor and above, you can come to the meet and greet. We have great food and drinks and just a great time mingling with the celebrities and taking photos. And
JD, folks can become involved in the golf tournament by contacting Debbie Roberts, Kara, or Miss Helen Kearns.
Give us a number.
The main number, I guess, to call to easiest reach one I can remember right now is the Sampson Arts Council, which is 596 888-253-2533. And they can reach Kara, and Kara can put you in touch with anybody on the committee. But one great thing about the golf tournament and the committee is that they've worked very hard, and there's ample opportunity for folks to be involved. If you don't play golf, you can be a whole sponsor. If you're a business, you can support.
We have our commemorative booklet,
Yeah.
and you can buy an ad for that booklet.
There are lots of ways that folks can support the Arts Council via this golf tournament, and it is, like I say, it is the #1 fundraiser that we have, and we depend upon it to carry out a great deal of the activities that we do.
Give us celebrities. Who's
Celebrities, Roman Gabriel.
Roman Gabriel, okay.
Yeah, Steve Fine, Jeff Bostick, Joe Bostick, Ken Huff, and John Bunting.
Okay. Now, Roman Gabriel hit me right off. Tell me about the other folks right quick. What's their?
Let's see. Steve Fine is a cyclist. Jeff Bostick and Joe Bostick were in the NFL, as well as Ken Huff.
They'll have
of
their
course,
championship
John Bunting.
rings here. You can
All
see.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
John
and you could get a picture
Bunting.
taken with them or something?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's actually 17. We have 17 celebrities coming, so that's just
It's just a small list.
small list of who
And
all
so
will be
you
there.
add to that list the closer the time comes, there may be somebody else added to the list, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think this is something that folks need to look at. I mean, we've already laid it out. It's critically important financially. Creativity is important in our society. 596-2533 is the number to call to get more information. I want to give you guys, both of you, a few minutes or a few seconds, rather, to wrap up here at the last, because we are coming to closure. Kara, again, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Whatever you've got to say, whatever you need to clarify, it's your moment. Go right ahead.
I just want to let everybody know that we are having for the kids this summer, 3 weeks of art camp, and that will be in July, July 8th through 12th, 15th through 19th, and 29th through August 2nd.
Each one of them separate, or is that all together?
Each one's separate, and if you're a member of the Arts Council, it's $100 for the week and $125 for non-members. And we have some great art teachers from the county schools and the city schools who are going to be participating in that. And you need to call now, because we only have 36 spots each week for the students. So
Again,
we're
appreciate
excited.
that.
We have a good time.
I think and they can call this same number, 596-2533, to the Arts Council.
Right.
Ray, wrap up.
JDB, I'd like to thank you for letting us be here today and talk about the arts and the importance of it in our community. How I'd like to wrap up is this. I'd like to thank all the folks that have supported the Sampson Arts Council and all of our activities over the past. I'd like to especially thank the current members. But as importantly, I'd like to invite anybody in our community, or even outside our community, to become a member of the Arts Council. Your support, your attendance at events, and we're not looking just for your financial support. We want you to come participate, but we do want you to come and be a member. There's 65,000 people in Sampson County, and we have roughly 200 members of the Arts Council. We've got folks from all across the county, but we're trying to be inclusive of everybody in Sampson County. But we've got memberships starting at $30. They go up. So you can become an individual member as low as $30 and support the arts. You can great receptions and invitations to lots of things, but we'd really like to encourage folks to become a supporter of the arts and to give thought as they go about their life and daily activities about the importance of the art in the community and how it does drive an economic engine within our community. And also, the things that people take for granted, that they just like the iPhone we talked about.
Yeah.
You pick it up, you dial the number, you talk to someone, but you don't think about all the creativity that went in to create that one piece of equipment, the technology, and the jobs it has created as a result. And that's what the creative economy does, and we certainly appreciate you coming on and giving us time to talk about it.
Thank both of you for being here. Wonderful exchange of information. I know folks will call 596-2533. Folks, you've been watching We Should Know. We appreciate you tuning in. We look forward next week to seeing you on the radio.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question or comment regarding this or any episode, please send your email questions and or comments to jwsimmonsedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday afternoon beginning at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.